is on a Fulbright scholarship for her Master's in International Negotiation and Conflict Resolution at MIIS. The title of her number 2 speech is Accountability to the Poor. Please welcome Joyce Laker.
Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, impoverished yet anxious, yet neither anxious nor discontented, voiceless yet neither ashamed nor guilty, empty-handed yet neither jealous nor envious, survivalist yet neither in self-doubt nor in fear, poor among the poorest, and yet they are the least stressed and the least frustrated. If you were put among a panel of people that were probably experts or people that had ever related to the poor, that you were supposed to list the factors that lead to the situation of people in poverty, or if you were given the chance at least to mention 3 things that you think is responsible for the persistence of people in poverty, what would you say or what would you name? Obviously, some of them are going to be mendacious. People define poverty in different ways. Poverty is relative, and the definition of poor as well is relative. The individualists say that people who are poor are accountable for their own cause of poverty, while the structuralists say that there are factors beyond the capacity of people who are poor that make them poor. And interestingly, the socialists say that the poor are poor because they're less fit to survive among the society. A political scientist in the 1974 called Edward Banfield said that people who are poor because they're unable to adapt to the values and norms of people in the society, people that are called mainstream people in the society. I have had experience working with the poor. I think that we have always had different thoughts about the poor. And definitely, I believe that if we were honest in any way, we would always be accountable for the situation of the poor. We are accountable for the situation of the marginalization of the poor. We are accountable for the social exclusion of the poor. We are accountable for making the poor survivalist. We are accountable for the fact that we've made the poor voiceless. And we are accountable for the fact that we've made the poor impoverished. Now, when we talk of the impoverishment of the poor, just look at development initiatives that we bring. I normally like writing when I talk, and then we have development programs that come up. And here we have the poor that are voiceless, the poor that are survivalists, and then we come with very lucrative development programs, impose them onto the poor. These programs are not sustainable programs. They have a time frame of 6 months to 1 year. And within our development programs, we don't provide opportunities to empower the poor. We simply create a dependency syndrome that eventually, with this program that we have a status shock among the poor, that for a short period of time, the poor are well off. And immediately, without any notice, we have the program closed. Eventually, the people that have had a status shock that are supposed to get back, it could be a smooth flow, it could be a drastic drop, are definitely worse of the poor that are left behind. Although I do appreciate the fact that, it has made the situation better, but for the fact that we have not made a sustainable means to ensure that the poor cope up, we remain accountable for the fact that we are strongly promoting the impoverishment of the poor. We are creating dependency syndromes that say, you know what, as a poor person, this is the way you should live. look at the element of the concept of development. Now we talk in terms of social capital, we talk in terms of contribution of the poor. I definitely one of the people that say that, you know what, for us to be able to work with the poor, we need to have the poor make contribution. But how do we socially exclude the poor out of the contributions that we make? We tell them, you know what, as you're poor, you have to come up, mobilize your social capital, access this funding, then eventually at the end of the day, we'll look at sustainability of the projects. And yet, within our target, we don't make efforts to ensure that the poor are part of the system. I will give you an example. I work with a family of a child-headed household that she was 10 years old and she was looking after 4 siblings. Tell me how that child is not going to be excluded. If we are talking about social capital, she's supposed to be part of the group to access funding. She's supposed to ensure that herself is included in the World Food Program lineup. Automatically, the way we do our things within development, the way the methodology that we have, definitely exclude the poor. Then when you look at the element of voiceless, many of our programs will really institutionalize the concept of the poor do not know what they want. Many people say that, you know, a beggar has no choice. But I'm telling you, we are looking at situations of making a meaningful change in the lives of the poor. And then we design programs from Geneva, we design programs from New York, we design programs from Washington, and then bring them to the people and you say, you know what, this is what is right for you. We are definitely not making a change in the lives of the poor. We are making their situations worse. And then when you look at an element of marginalization and social exclusion, in all that we do, even within ourselves, look at yourself. How have you related with somebody that you economically think is below you? Things, the way you do your relations, there is an element of the fact that in what we do every day, we socially exclude people that should be part of us. And therefore, I will give you an example, like in Uganda, we put that, you know, people below poverty line, those that can earn, those that cannot earn less than $1, or those that cannot consume $1 in a day, are 35% of the total population. We have a total population of 27 million. And yet, out of that, we have 75% of the 35% come from northern Uganda, which is only 19% of the population. What image are we giving the world in terms of the people who are poor? We are simply saying 35%. But we are socially excluding a population that has 75% out of 5.3 million, 3.9 million people are poor. We are socially excluding them. So for all these reasons, I think that we are accountable. We are accountable for the marginalization of the poor. We are accountable for their social exclusion, and we are accountable for their voicelessness. So for us to be honest, we need to be accountable.